As far as schools for the arts go, Juilliard School in New York is the name that so many students dream of. It is the performing arts school that has turned out so many talented, famous artists over the years. But even if you get in, the high cost of tuition ends up becoming a barrier for a lot of potential students. But here's the thing. Juilliard just announced it's planning to raise enough money to become tuition free. And this story made us think of our favorite trumpet player from Mississauga, Ontario, William Leathers. Back in 2018, William raised money through GoFundMe to help cover his expenses to attend Juilliard. He's now the principal trumpet player at the Nashville Symphony. William, welcome to the show, friend.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, of course. Listen, tell me when you started you thinking that you wanted to go to Juilliard.
Probably around when I was in high school. I've been playing music most of my life. I started the piano when I was about 4 years old, and the trumpet when I was six, turning seven. Because my dad's a trumpet player, and I wanted to be just like him. And I
Hmm.
just kept playing and playing and learning more and loving it. And then as soon as I knew that I needed some sort of career to have, to make money and live, and I realized, well, why not, do what I love? So that way I won't really be working at all in my life. I'll just be, having fun.
But the thing that you just said is one thing, which is to say, I want to do this for a living. I want to do this for a career. I want this to be part of my life. That's one thing. But then Juilliard enters the picture at a certain point, which is to say, it's one thing to say, I want to learn how to play the trumpet professionally. I want to go to school for this. It's another to say, the place for this is Juilliard. When did that start to become a part of your orbit?
I think around high school, Juilliard, I started to know, Juilliard seemed to be the place that, had all the best teachers in the world,
Hmm.
teachers from that play in the New York Philharmonic and the Metropolitan Opera, New York City Ballet, all those different groups, all teaching at the same school. And the idea of people, lots of talented, very intelligent individuals from all over the world coming into one place, and people get to congregate and teach each other about different things that that we can teach each other that we haven't even thought about ourselves before. And
Hmm.
so it's just a really great place for multiple different art forms, music, drama, and dance. Sometimes musicians will talk to dancers, and dancers will talk to actors about different things that can coincide together really well artistically.
It's not at all easy to get into Juilliard, obviously. And then there's obviously the moment for you where you get the letter. You get the letter, the acceptance letter that says, "Hey, William, you're in." Tell me about that moment. What was that moment like for you?
Well, it was a really exciting moment for me, and I think I was at a youth orchestra. I was at a Mississauga Symphony Youth Orchestra rehearsal
Hmm.
when I found out about it, and I was really excited. And leading up to through the application process and through the audition and all that, me and my family we were all kind of in a we knew that there was a cost to go to Juilliard if I were to get in, but we were in the mentality of let's go through the whole process, audition, application, and then ask questions later. Now we're at the point that we're asking questions, and we realized that it was going to be pretty tough to afford. There was some scholarship offered to me, but there was still most of the tuition left to take care of. So
It,
what ended up happening?
yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
No, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, what ended up happening is a family friend of mine, Andre Demise, started a GoFundMe campaign, and lots of generous people from all around Canada and all around the world. A lot of whom were in the same position as me at one point. There was one person that I had left a comment on after donating to my GoFundMe, saying that they had gotten into MIT but couldn't afford to go, and so they said, I don't want you to be in this position. Spread your wings and fly, kid. I remember those words specifically. So,
Hmm.
lots of people in that position who didn't want me to be in that position. So I was very, fortunate to receive that amount of generosity, which makes me feel good that a lot more people now won't have to feel, won't be in that position now with the recent news.
I I can't get over the image of you sitting in your rehearsal for the Mississauga Symphony, with other people who also love doing what you're doing, and then that's where you find out. That's where the news comes to you that like you get to attend the best performing arts school in the world. Before I even get to the cost, because like the cost is astronomical, and I want to mention it just a moment. Can you just like paint a scene for me of what that moment is like? Because do you open an email? Is that what happens, or does someone like burst in with like a package that says, "William, dude, the acceptance package is here"? How did that play out?
Well, I found out shortly before the rehearsal, we're getting warmed up and ready to go. And I think I had seen both an email come in saying there's a status update. And at the same time that I read that email, I got a text from my mom at the same time that I'd gotten in. And
Oh wow.
I said it to the trumpet player sitting next to me, and Adriana is her name, and she said to me, "Oh my God, I have to bake you a cake or something. That's amazing." Yeah. So it was a really cool moment. Just on the cell phone right there.
Yeah.
Happen all in. Yeah, it would be kind of cool if somebody burst in with a with confetti and all that. In blue and white, the Juilliard colors, and someone comes in with in the penguin mascot that the school
Yeah.
has. So that would be pretty funny. I wonder if that happens to some people in other places when they get in and they say, you can't be on your phone, can't look at your email, just so somebody's uncle can come in dressed as a penguin to surprise them like that.
I have to imagine that would make for
Maybe
some.
might as well put that idea out there, for people applying for Juilliard and have gotten in. Somebody's family member has to, somebody's very unserious family member.
In fact, that would be the most serious family member because they're serious about that person's future. Like that's what I really like about
Oh
that.
yeah, exactly.
That
Yeah.
idea and that image. But let me get into the reality, right? Because this it's one thing to sort of find out. It's another thing to celebrate with another trumpet player saying, "Hey, I'm gonna bake you a cake," right? But then you get to the reality's got to set in at a certain point, and the estimated cost to attend Juilliard for 4 years as an international student at the time, with tuition, board, and other expenses, is $365,000. That means you got to make $1,000
Yeah.
every
In
single day
Canadian
for a year.
dollars, that's correct.
In
Yeah.
Canadian dollars. Tell me about how that whopping gigantic amount sets into your brain. You go like, okay, now we got another hurdle to clear.
Right. Yeah, that's right. There was something about there was something about it, even with all the uncertainty that brought. There was a certain amount of calm, coming from different family members saying, one way or another, this is going to work out okay. We'll
Aw.
figure it out. And so, and then all of the all of the GoFundMe generosity, from all these wonderful people kind of all happened at once. So it was kind of one emotion to another. So that's how I generally remember that going.
There's what I like is the through line of calm throughout the story where you're like, hey, I'm gonna apply just to see what happens because shoot or shoot, and then like you shoot your shot and then you get in and then you're like, oh well, we'll just be able to figure it out. Was there anxiety for you after you got in, being like, oh my God, what if the reality is I've got into this prestigious school, but now I feel like I'm not gonna be able to get into it? Or as you were telling that story, like did Andre just kind of say, I got you. We'll figure this out. It will be fine. So that it kind of felt like calm the whole time.
Yeah, well, Andre was one of those main people that said, I'm gonna help you figure this out, and
Hmm.
one way or another, we're gonna get you there. And so, having people like Andre and my mom and several other family members, there to say, um, we're gonna, be the village for you right now.
Hmm.
It takes a village, that kind of thing. We're in this moment. This is where the village comes in handy,
Hmm.
and so the village really comes through. So that kind of pretty much got rid of all the anxiety, I'd say.
When you look back at the school, and the ways it sort of transforms your life, what are your favorite memories of going to Juilliard?
I'd say some of my favorite memories. There was um, every year the Juilliard Orchestra has a Carnegie Hall concert, and I got to play first trumpet on a pretty big piece in the
Mm.
Carnegie Hall concert in my sophomore year, my second year there. And this was in February of 2020. So this is the very last thing I did in New York before the pandemic.
Oh wow.
And so the piece was yeah. So the piece was Mahler's Fifth Symphony. It starts with a huge 12 bar, trumpet alone solo, and then the whole orchestra comes in with the solo principal trumpet at the back. And so that was kind of a huge moment for me, and playing that, going through the whole cycle with all the rehearsals and getting into the groove of the piece, and then playing the actual concert with lots of friends and family there, and just really being in the moment of having that huge role playing principal trumpet in that hall on that piece was really a moment that told me that, okay, I think I can really do this. I think this is what I was meant to do, and this feels like me. And so that was, if I were to pick one singular moment amongst numerous things that I loved about going to Juilliard,
Yeah.
that would probably be the most memorable single moment. And the other general thing that I loved about going to Juilliard, that just kind of continuously happened all the time, is that along with getting to study with the best in the business, I did get to study with Chris Martin, who's principal trumpeter with the New York Philharmonic, and Ray Mace, who's the retired principal trumpet of the New York City Ballet and the American Brass Quintet. All of us who are musicians at the Juilliard School, we get to see our teachers, once a week.
Hmm.
And but for all of your classmates, these are all very talented and intelligent individuals coming from all different places in the world, who are bringing their own wealth of knowledge to the table. Even though we all haven't, at that point when you're starting at Juilliard, we all really haven't been on Earth for a very very long time in comparison to our teachers. But
Mm.
the difference is we're around each other all the time, and especially in that first year, we're in the dormitory, and so we um, if we want to, we can always just stay up late, for hours and hours into the night, talking about music, talking about, especially with that class of brass players that I was lucky to be a part of. I would just stay up with different guys there and talk about music and brass playing concepts that would, quite literally overnight make each other better,
Mm.
help each other improve, just bring new things for a colleague to think about at school. And I think it's a really beautiful thing that we were able to essentially teach each other when our teachers weren't teaching us, outside of the lessons.
William, it's not lost on me that there are a lot of people for whom the dream to get into Juilliard stops being a dream. And in part, that is because of this financial obstacle. When you remove the financial obstacle and just say, you know what, let's figure out, let's let you dream, and then we can take care of the rest of this later, which is to say what Juilliard has done here. What do you think that does for music education? How do you think that changes the education that somebody receives?
Well, I think no matter what your financial background is, once you've done all the hard work, especially if someone has like a generational amount of talent,
Yeah.
and you put 10,000 hours and proper guidance on top of that. Once you remove that financial barrier, finances just aren't at all an issue, and then you have the potential for lots of generational artists to come into play
Hmm.
through especially the Juilliard School now, or shortly. Um, and so basically what that provides. There's no more that wall is being kicked down.
Is that a thing you think about? Is that a thing you think about for you? Like you think of the other William Leathers who did not have, someone in their corner saying, "We're going to figure this out. We're going to get, a GoFundMe going for you." Is that something that you think about in your career in terms of like the other musicians whose path has maybe stalled because they couldn't get into a place like Juilliard?
Well, I typically think about that in the form of, not really what would have happened. I don't really like to look back that way, but
Yeah.
this that it's the fact that this is a reality for other people where it the journey just ends there. You get in, you can't afford it, and that's it. The Juilliard dream is gone. This is a reality for a lot of people, and so
Hmm.
that's typically the form that I think of it in. And and then in my case, I just remain grateful that I was
Hmm.
in a position of optimism, and I was a um, um, in a good place for a lot of people to generously donate to my
Yeah.
dreams.
You worked out. You worked out. You're now the principal trumpet player at the Nashville Symphony. I heard that you're working on your first album right now as well. How much do you feel going to Juilliard has helped you get to where you are right now?
I think a whole lot. Um, going to Juilliard just made me so much more of an intelligent artist.
Hmm.
It helped me kind of figure out who I wanted to be as a trumpet player and a person and an artist and all that.
William, I appreciate you taking your time to sort of explain to us what Juilliard has meant and contribute to your career. And I just really appreciate hearing about it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, of course. William Leathers, that is Mississauga's own William Leathers. He's the principal trumpet player at the Nashville Symphony.